Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the zombie apocalypse. Okay, so in a zombie apocalypse, what are we looking at? Let's go ahead and look at the different types of zombies that we can have. We have the possibility of the zombies that you would see in most movies, where the zombies are stupid, dull, slow, weak. There's not a whole lot to them. Their danger is in their numbers. So let's go ahead and kind of figure out exactly how we would deal with that kind of a situation. Well, in a situation like that, I'm sure most of you have seen, if you're watching this anyway, you've seen probably a fair amount of zombie movies. Okay. So, slow and dull zombies, how do you deal with them? Well, pretty much anyway. There's really no right or wrong. Obviously, everyone plans in this kind of a situation to have a gun. I don't think that's a bad thing. Guns are obviously going to be excellent for the dull zombies, but in the horrible event that these zombies are not really so much zombies, but just kind of psychopaths running on, like they're on roid rage, and they just like feasting on human flesh. Guns are going to be an absolute necessity. But let's go ahead and assume that we're talking about the absolute dead. We're talking about the ones that are slow, maybe able to move almost like at a fast walking pace, but that's about all they got going for them. So let's go ahead and just assume that that's what we're looking at. So we need to have a couple of rules, obviously, in this kind of a situation on how exactly would we deal with zombies, with the zombie apocalypse. Okay, so rule number one is going to be exercise. Whether it's slow and dull zombies or fast and insane zombies, you want to have exercise. Now, I would not recommend taking any kind of exercise equipment with you should this all happen. Just learn to start jogging or running. If it just so happens to be the psychotic, adrenaline zombies, then you're either going to start running or you're going to be eaten. If it's the slow, dull ones, it depends on where you live. You either, if you're in the city, you probably better learn to run or you're going to be eaten. If you're in the places like me, where I am kind of in the back neck of the woods, like I'd say population in my neighborhood, I would be surprised if it was above, 100. Population in the small city that I live in, I'd say I'd be surprised if it was above 5,000. Not a real big area, obviously not the small little tiny hick town, but very, very small anyway. So, one of my dangers is that I actually live about 45 miles outside of Houston, which has a couple million people in it. So there is always the concern that a huge wave of these zombies, or herd, or whatever you want to call them, decides to come marching along. But let's go ahead and just work on exercise. So, exercise. Whether you have hunkered down and you know where you're at, you know what you're doing, you're completely sealed off from the zombies or not, exercise on a daily basis. I don't care. You do jumping jacks, you do jogging, you do running, you do something. Survive. You need to have some form of being able to survive, so exercising is important. Now, let's go ahead and move on to family and friends. If you have family like I do, I have a wife and 2 children, so in my kind of a situation, they're going to be my main priority. I have siblings and parents and grandparents that all live within 10 miles of me. I can't worry about them. I'm going to worry about them, but I can't deal with them right now. I have to take care of my family. I'm just going to have to hope that hope and pray that they can take care of themselves until we can get settled in to wherever we're going to be. Friends, guys, I have a couple of friends that I look at like they're brothers. So I understand exactly where a lot of people come from. They're as good as family. But I could not be concerned about them. I have to take care of my family. So that, in my mind, covers family and friends. Strangers. Guys, the zombie apocalypse, for the time being, you probably need to avoid them. They come to you saying, we need help, we need food, we need water, we need all that, and you're limited on supplies, you're probably going to have to say no. And I know it sounds absolutely horrible, and the thing is you're going to have to use your own judgment. I could sit here and tell you all day long you shouldn't do it, but the fact is you're going to have to use your own judgment. So let's move on to weapons. Okay. I have a standard 9mm. This is, I guess, I've heard that a lot of police use this type. It has the safety on the back and on the trigger. There's no actual click safety on this thing. Good size magazine, 16 rounds. Right now I have some self-defense rounds in there. But a good sturdy weapon, not real big, but a good weapon anyway. Here's my own personal little favorite, and the only reason is because I absolutely love revolvers. This is a 22 single action revolver. Now, I understand that a lot of people can say, well, that sucks, it's a 22 and single action. Well, that's absolutely true. The beauty of 22s though, bullets are smaller and lighter. You can carry more of them for the same amount of weight that you would carry less 9mm, 40, 45s, shotgun shells, rifle rounds, things like that. All of those things are going to be a lot bigger and heavier to carry. 22, lightweight and beautiful. And the best thing about 22 is, think about it, guys. These are rotting zombies. You think a 22 bullet isn't going to go through a rotting flesh and skull? It's going to happen. So you're looking at a 22 being extremely effective. Thing with the 9mm, an extra magazine, I would recommend carrying several. Let's move on to the true weapon of choice, though, if we are talking about the standard, slow, dull, idiotic zombie. Katana. Absolutely beautiful weapon. If you are looking for something that is going to do a lot of damage and not run out of bullets, this is it. The one thing that I recommend is getting a katana similar to this, or a machete. Something that here, you want the metal running through the whole thing. This needs to be one solid piece of metal, which it is. It's one solid piece of metal, has two pieces of wood put on either side of it. And this right here, the, good lord, I cannot remember what it's called. It's welded in. It's kind of hard to see, but right inside the wood there, it is actually welded in. It is all part of it. It's not going to be going off anytime soon. Great for thrusting into a zombie skull. It's got a nice good point there. Good sharp weapon. It's great for swinging. You know, you want to have something that's going to be effective in that area. Then we move on to hunting knife, fixed blade, extremely important. I understand that people like flip knives. You know that they are true more compact, being able to flip them in and out. The beauty of these though is that there is no concern. If I get close encounter and I've got to shove this up a zombie's skull, I'm not concerned about this blade coming down because the locking mechanism breaks or malfunctions or the blade's not fully open or whatever. I shove this, it's going up the zombie's skull. I apologize. I have a paracord lanyard. This is about 25 feet of paracord on it. Just extra rope if you ever need it. Plus, I guess in any kind of situation if you needed to, which I wouldn't recommend because you could actually end up hurting yourself, but you could actually use it to swing the knife at a zombie. But once again, at that point, you're up close enough, you just take the blade and shove it up their skull. Whenever I say up their skull, I mean up into their skull. You can shove down, but the quickest access to the brain is going to be up. You have less that you're fighting with, you're going straight into the brain, hitting the brain right here. You're going to be dulling the knife a lot more because even though they're going to be rotting, it's still a skull, guys. This is my own little invention. If you guys have power tools or something, I would highly recommend this. This was a machete at one point. I took the plastic grip off because this machete I bought at Walmart. It was about a $6-7 machete. It was a piece of crap, and you can see it's not real thick. But that's okay because at a smaller size like this, the metal doesn't bend near as well. I mean, it can still bend if I really try. but it really doesn't take a whole lot of damage after a lot of use. Whenever it's at this small of a size. Whenever it's bigger, yeah, I hit a couple of things with it, and the whole thing warped on me, and it was a piece of crap. So I used a grinder to grind it down to this. It's not perfect, but I'm not looking for it to be perfect. I just need it to be working. And then I just used the grinder, you can kind of see, just to give it serrated edges. I'm sorry, not to serrate the edges. I'm completely off today in my thought process. Just to sharpen down the edges. The beauty of this is that it has these holes in it. What I can do, and I've seen a lot of people do it, is take a stick or a post or something like that they want to use as a spear, and they stick the whenever it's right here, they stick a knife on it, and then they tap on the other side of the knife so that the knife moves down through the post, and then they do it the other way, and then they sharpen it up, and then they stick a couple sticks down there to spread it open, and they get themselves a spear out of it. Well, that seems effective, and that's all wonderful and dandy. But in my mind, what you do is you do the exact same thing. You have a post. It's it's sticking up. You're holding it like this. You stick the knife on it. You tap down just a little bit, or enough to cover this handle part. Slide this inside. Now you're looking at you're having a spear now. What I recommend, and it's what I did, and I wish I had the tool with me. I completely forgot it. Is you take a drill bit, and you drill into just a small little cylindrical piece of wood, I guess that's the way you say it. Just drill into it. Doesn't need to be, maybe yay thick or so. Just drill into it, not all the way. Just go maybe half, 3/4 of the way. Pour a bunch of glue in there, or a JB Weld or something like that, and then take the drill bit out of the drill, stick it in there, and then let it dry. Now you've got your own little hand drill. So whenever you run out of electricity, you still got that. Once you have it inside the staff, you just drill through the staff and the holes. If you need to use a marker to do it, go ahead. Might as well. You drill through it, and then you take, next important thing, paracord. Less than $10, guys. And it's effective, it's wonderful, it doesn't rot or mildew out in the weather, it's beautiful stuff. Take it and weave it through all 3 holes, so that now it's nice through. At the very end where you first went in, you have a knot on the other side, so it butts up against the staff and it doesn't go through. And then at that point, you just start wrapping it, give it nice and tight. You want to make sure the paracord stays tight, so this stays good and tight inside the staff. Now you got yourself a spear. In a situation where you get on like a roof or something like that, or if you get stuck up in a tree and you have this spear, don't waste ammo. Use the spear. Just start stabbing the suckers in the head from up in the tree. Just stab, stab, stab. And, no problems. Save yourself ammo, and this will allow you to kill them from a distance. Okay, next thing we're going to move on to is what I would not really recommend, but I know that a lot of people would, is a bat. Now, personally, I don't think a bat is necessarily a bad thing to have. This is not real heavy, so it's not going to add a lot of weight. It's just something big you got to kind of carry with you. My issues with the bat, and here's the logic behind me not wanting to have a bat unless it was absolutely my last resort, is what happens when you take a bat, for those of you who know, what happens when you take a bat and slam it against something really hard. I could slam this into a wall right now, and the wall would get damaged, but so will my hands. My hands will get nice and bruised up from that. You can wear gloves and it'll definitely help, but it's still going to hurt like hell. And though these are rotting zombies, you're talking about a skull here still, once again. You don't want to shove the knife through because you'll dull the knife. But what do you think is going to happen when you keep bashing in their heads with a bat? Your hands are going to get bruised, they're going to get hurt, and then you're going to be less effective. So if you're going to have a bat, what I would recommend is something a little bit smaller. Very small. I actually got this whenever I was a kid. Very, very lightweight, a heck of a lot smaller. I would not be using this to bash in their skulls. To me, this is something that as I'm going, I'm either slamming it into them and knocking them down, or even occasionally just smacking one on the side of the face just to get them off balance so I can get by them and get away from them. So I would recommend using this if you really are going to go for a bat, but once again, bat not really highly recommended in my mind. Okay,